Here we are. Hi, Crispy. We're live. I'm live.
Woohoo, I'm live too. Let's see if anybody else can hear us out there.
Okay.
I might be at end. I even rebooted for this. I might be at end of life for my computer.
Fair enough.
You know how
Got,
that happens. Look,
Frank in the chat, Ashley and Connor.
Let's see if I can get us up on the screen.
Yo, T, urgent hex buy signal. Charts flaming hot.
Golden ratio, huh? That's how legends stack T-shares.
Get them while they're crispy, folks. This window won't stay open long.
Stake smart, win big. Time rewards those who act.
Stay crispy, Hexicans.
You gotta move it, move it. Feel the rhythm of the blockchain.
All right. Well, we may have to come out. They just did an update on StreamYard. We may have to end this and come back.
We're still on. Like you're on, I'm on.
Can people see us?
Well, they can see you right now. You have me in the corner.
Well, let's see if I can. I know nobody puts baby in a corner. I can't see anything on my screen, man.
Well, now it's playing the your demo. There's some multicultural people talking about things.
This is bad.
I think the problem's on your end.
Yo, T, urgent hex buy signal. Charts flaming hot.
Golden ratio, huh? That's how legends stack T-shares.
Get them while they're crispy, folks. This window won't stay open long.
Stake smart, win big. Time rewards those who act.
Stay crispy, Hexicans.
You gotta move it, move it. Feel the rhythm of the blockchain.
All right. Let's see. Wow, look at this. I finally clicked enough buttons. I clicked enough buttons. I think what happened is, like, you know how they've been doing these updates on StreamYard?
Yeah.
I just rebooted. And because when I came in the first time, it was like, hey, we have all this new stuff. You should reboot. And then I rebooted, but then nothing played, you know?
Yeah.
But they gave me all these extra things up here I haven't seen before. And you're getting all sorts
too many buttons.
Yeah, I'm getting all sorts of weird stuff too up here. But like, let's see, media assets. Well, you can hear that, right?
I heard something.
Yeah, it sounded like rain falling.
There we go. Cool.
Got to get.
We need tech support. We need some interns to like run stuff for us. We're getting old.
Oh yeah, so everybody wants to see me push or watch me or listen to me push buttons.
That's why they're here. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but what the hell, man? This is all like new stuff that just showed up for me. You know, there's sounds in the
don't
chat.
connect your wallet to anything, Crispy. Well, that's super handy. I'm going to use that every day.
I know, dude. I might be able to like every time you end up talking, I'll be like, "Fast has spoken."
Won't be irritating at all.
No, I know it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be irritating at all. But it does have my old stuff now.
Yeah, you've played your videos
hey now. Hey. All right, nobody wants to do that. All right, Fast, good to see you. I'm glad that I'm almost a boomer because then that makes sense as to why I can't operate StreamYard properly. You know, today I was at the gym and my phone wouldn't connect. And of course, you know, I've been there 300 times, right? And so I know how to connect my phone to the gym's Wi-Fi. But a really nice young girl helped me. It was so, let me see your phone. I'll show you how to.
Did she call you sir?
Yeah, you call me sir. No, yeah. Better than
once they start calling you sir, it's game over, right? That's like you got no more game. You're not a threat. I think that's actually why I do so well with the ladies is because I'm no longer threatening. They call me sir.
Yeah, they call me Crispy.
That works too.
All right, let's see everybody. I see some people out there in the chat. I mean, Condor says we sound good. Yeah, Yavine, I'm still in Windows 10. That's the problem. I've been getting the message. I got a brand new I got a brand new desktop I need to move over to, and I haven't done that yet because I'm a slacker.
With crypto, it's a pain in the ass because, like, you move in stuff, you got to be careful. It's like, it takes like a whole day for me to get a new laptop and move everything over, like 8 hours.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, the problem with that. Yeah, no shades today. All right, I'm looking at here's a good piece of knowledge in the out here. I see a big Hey Now to Ben. Anybody who's been on the club, the Hey Now Club. I'd make a joke about this. I can't even say it, so I won't say it because then somebody will steal my idea. Let me see if somebody will go do it. There you go. All right. I'll come back later to talk about that. And J Dub saying, "Hey, listen, we've probably seen this this RH LARP account. I don't know which RH LARP account. There's a couple of them. Saying that he's going to live stream 5K ETH. That probably might happen.
Yeah, could happen. I suspect the LARP accounts are not actually RH, but yeah, I think when ETH starts to fly, Pulse is going to fly, and I think RH is going to stream. That seems.
I'm
likely.
susceptible. I'm susceptible to that belief.
It's not that crazy.
Buy the rumor, sell the news. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing, right? 5K would be a monumental amount, right? I don't know how many ETH.
It's going to be like $900 million worth or something.
So
like
1 billion would be like a good crossover. Like when the
1 billion's at like 6K ish, depending on which date you go from.
All right. I'll take it. I'll take it either way.
Yep. I think ETH Pro should be scared. Like if I was an ETH Pro, I'd be like, "Oh, that RH guy is going to sell his ETH and pump PulseChain."
Yeah, I know, dude. I was thinking about that. All the bitching that we do about what we talk about and cheating and all this other crap, right? You imagine but you look at the 160K ETH out there, you'd be like, "Oh, that guy's going to dump us," right? But then you know what? The foundation just sold 160K and the market didn't burp. So
yep. There's tons of liquidity. Like that's the truth. But like, like if you were an ETH Pro and you wanted RH to sell out, you'd want it to sell now, not at 6K, right? Like, you'd want it to sell it lower and let it go higher. And I suspect that is not his plan.
Yeah.
So ETH Pro should probably be a little concerned.
I want to shout out before we move. I'm going to dig into that topic with you right now. Mr. Max Quattro Cinco, I like you. You've got 5555 in your name. I like that. We give you a shout out. All right. So what would my strategy be? It's a good thing I don't have 160,000 ETH.
We know.
Because then I can make up all this bullshit that probably wouldn't work out right. But if I was trying to come in and support my chain, first off, I'm not doing an all-in. Because I got to have some sort of management reserve in the background, right? Call it a treasury reserve, right?
Yeah.
And then I probably am going to have another layer of that on top of that I don't want to bring in unless I absolutely have to. So another big percentage. And both of those might have some allocation for like hold forever, right? Like I'm never even going to trade them. I'm going to hold them, right? Because markets are crazy and you never really know what could happen. So I wouldn't want to exit all of that. So let's say a third. Like a third, I'm planning to bring in. A third I'm going to keep as contingency. And then a third is like a reserve, right? Like mega crazy. And so the contingency and reserve, I ain't going to deploy that, right? So I'm not taking it out of ETH. I'm going to leave it there as long as I can. I'm going to shoot for 12K. I'm going to shoot. If I think it's going to 20, I'm going to wait for the top. Right. So I'm not doing anything with that. And so then the other third.
Like DCA though, a little bit, don't you think?
Well, the other third, right? And that's where you have the other third, right? Where you.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if those are the numbers, right? But the other third, maybe I would consider deploying. But then I'm going to want to deploy that in a smart fashion. And some of it, shock and awe, would be good, right? So I could see shock and awe, like taking a portion of that and shocking the entire system. We talked about this a little bit last week. I don't know if there's really a there here, but there, whatever. But, there's potential of actually buying up the assets on the ETH side, to create that draw. But I think it's probably a lesser strategy. And then, so the rest of it would be trying to figure out, am I waiting for a better price on ETH before I bridge it? Or am I gonna bridge the ETH and then try to trade it into low liquidity? And so there's a bunch of strategies. It could be like a multi-tiered strategy of taking portions of it and getting it into the chain in one way, shape, fashion, or another. Because if we take what's 160 divided by 3 is what, about 53 million, right? Or 53,000. So if 53,000 ETH just suddenly showed up on the chain, we pretty much know where it came from, right? You might not be able to track. Yeah, it might not be able to track the exact wallets, and trace them back specifically because of whatever might happen on the Ethereum side. But it's a lot more difficult if there's USDT coming, USDC coming, who knows? Coast shows up, ETH shows up, Bitcoin shows up. It could be a whole wide array of tokens.
True.
That are highly fungible on the other side, right?
Yeah, tons of liquidity. So yeah, it could be a thing. So I don't know. I think if it was me, I would be like, go for some shock and all, like you're saying, but like I'd probably focus on just washing those funds, like run it through Tornado Cash 2-3 times. Like Tornado Cash, you can do 1 ETH, you can do 10 ETH, you can do 100 ETH, or you can do 0.1 ETH, right? So like you could run that through, like run through 100, then run through run through tens, then run through 1 ETH, and then by the time you get to 1 ETH, nobody's looking at it anymore. Nobody knows what those wallets are. And then you could pump it incognito without any sort of front running action, right? Like I think that would be, probably get the most overall gains. Would be like, wow, look, it's up 20% today, and it's up 20% tomorrow, and 20% the next day, and like it'd be all incognito wallets. And I'd set those wallets up so that to throw people off, like I'd have them buy weird stuff, like, oh, I bought $10 worth of dick with butt. It did whatever weird thing.
$100,000 worth of Quattro Cinco token.
There we go.
5555. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
just make it look like a normal wallet, right? Which would be easy enough to do at first inspection.
Yeah.
And have
that's a lot.
Thousands of wallets.
There's so much value you're talking about. I mean, it's almost like if a nice privacy option appeared, that might coincide with something happening.
Yep. And I've heard of some privacy options. I've heard somebody kept talking about Railgun. I don't know much about that, but I heard Railgun's coming to PulseChain. It's supposed to be a optimal privacy option.
Yeah, Yavin, that's a good question. So Yavin's asking, is ETH traceable when you send it to the exchange and brought back to the chain? Yes, the answer is definitely yes. Now, the question is it traceable by who? Now, obviously, the person who owns the wallets on both ends, whether it's on the exchange or not, they know. And then the exchange knows. And remember, there are insiders in exchanges. So I would never guess that anybody would actually give away information, but there is something called, corporate espionage, right? So there are ways to piece it together, but let's go like normal people and not think about the nefarious stuff. Technically, no, right? It shows up in like this big fat wallet with a whole bunch of other stuff and on the exchange, and then when you send it back out, it leaves and it goes back out. And if you do a swap while you're there on the exchange too, it makes it different, right? But in large part, a lot of our not all of them, but a lot of the guys who've been doing the tracking, they kind of jump. I don't want to say jump to conclusion. They do. They actively pursue this idea of trying to figure out, like, if 50 million ETH went in, to Tornado Cash, like for instance, and got mixed up, and then somehow 50 million ended up in some exchange, through likely candidates, and then 50 million came back out. They kind of intuit that those are all kind of related, right? And then they're looking to see what the downstream actions are. Now, after big wallets make big purchases, then it's a little bit easier to kind of like Monday morning quarterback that, right? And be able to go
Totally.
backwards.
But like that's why I think the washing it multiple times, like going from 100 ETH to 1 ETH, like it's like you could literally exhaust the wallet watchers by just having too many wallets to watch and having the amounts be small enough that it's
But you're
mixed in with
talking about
millions of people.
but you're talking about thousands and thousands of wallets, which I know the OA has already done, right? But still,
Yeah,
I mean, managing that is like it hurts my brain thinking about it.
I'm with you.
But
But like
there is also,
could be the job.
yeah, it could be a job. Well, and there's also a good argument for shock and awe. Yeah, you do a little bit of mixing, big wallets, bring it in, you know, and then it's still kind of elusive if they're broken up into pieces as to whether they really are all connected. But then people look at things like this one, because then what people start doing, they look at the transaction times and they're like, well, this one took place 30 seconds before the last one, and then the next one was 30 seconds, then 30 seconds, 30 seconds, or a minute, whatever. And they're like, yeah, this is probably the same person going from wallet to wallet to wallet, or their bot going from wallet to wallet to wallet, to do it. Well, anyways, but yeah, but I like the idea of shock and awe because then that makes things really juicy.
Totally. If you want to shock and awe, you could just bridge over 50,000 ETH and have it sit in a wallet that everybody could see, right? And be like, wow,
Yeah,
look, there's
yeah.
50,000 ETH here.
Well, yeah, I think at least one level of mystery is probably good, maybe two. But
Fair enough.
yeah, because this is what you run into. We can talk about this for a little bit. This is the type of problem that you have with any token when you try to work on market making it, is that people are watching the wallets, right? And we just saw this with the X game. So a lot of people, congratulations, by the way, to Firewall. It was a great launch and the game itself. I don't know if everybody's gotten a chance to go use it, see it, or whatever. Randy Hilarski's doing a stream right after this, and he has one in the can from yesterday, just showing the crash game. That's pretty cool. But we had the whole buy the rumor, sell the news on X game, right? And
So it's saying, yeah,
Firewall had it's related to this topic, I think, but Firewall had telegraphed way early, verbally, right? Hey, listen, a lot of value is probably going to come in to promote X game. The X game price is going to go up, right? And so
and it
then,
did go up quite a bit, like
yeah, it
at
did.
one point.
Yeah, it was almost 10x,
Yeah.
from when he made that announcement. And that's similar to the guess that people have that the OA will do something, right? So you're believing somebody's going to do something, so now you're watching for it. But the challenge is not everybody is willing to round trip things. Like, when they go in with $5,000 or $10,000, they're thinking they're going to flip it. And it's the same thing with the pump, right? On the entire chain, is that people are going to be watching that and they're going to try to flip it. And if the flip, meaning the sell down, is greater than the ammunition that you have left, or is equal to or greater in the size of what you did to pump, it's going to go in the other direction, right? And so, yeah, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, depending on liquidity situation. So we were talking about this in the mastermind today a little bit too. At least I was talking about it. Is so what is Richard to do? What I mean, I say Richard, but I don't know. But yeah, what is whoever the market maker to do? If they're going to try to make the market and bring it up, well, they're going to try to do things maybe slowly at times, maybe faster at other times, and try to avoid, getting too many people primed to dump. I think.
The logical thing is like if as a market maker, if you're putting 1 million in, you want 1 million of somebody else's money to come in behind you, right? Like, so that you're doubling the effect. So if people are coming in like, oh, PulseChain's pumping, I'm going to go buy into PulseChain, then PulseChain pumps more from that person's money. And then, your money as a market maker goes twice as far, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So it comes down to narrative. And this is why I've been not making a prediction, just talking about possibilities. I was talking about how I think in general, most of us would agree that if the two hexes together don't hit all-time high, that's going to be a point of contention, right? People will be like, this thing didn't even get back to all-time high, right? Because even if it even combined, right? So that gives you the 50-cent type level. And then you have a level above that where, okay, so let's assume we get past the combined value of 50 cents. So what's the next logical level? Psychologically, it's probably $1. It may not be real. It may be that it gets blown out, but that'll depend on the market. And then the next psychological level above that's $5 probably. It could be at every dollar or whatever. But so I think there's good chance.
What was the all-time high again? Like 55 cents or something?
Yeah, 55 cents. So I think it's a good chance we get to there. I think there's also a chance that it goes to $1 for HEX and potentially as high as $5. And you say, well, Crispy, wait a minute. How is that even possible? If it's $5,
more than 10,000x, Crispy.
Yeah, that's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
And so, and we're just throwing out weird numbers. But here's the thing. How could that really happen? I don't know. I think what it comes down to is the individual users and the big users too, right? But that have the HEX is where do they think the pump is in its maturity? Are we peaking? And so, like, if heck, I mean, I don't expect it to 10x tomorrow, but if HEX 10x tomorrow, would you sell all your HEX? So, it logically, us talking about it, we're all like, oh yeah, we'd sell some, right? But would you really? Would you really? That's the big question, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I would admit it'd be pretty smart to take a little bit of profit because you don't know if it's going to go further. But you would have been putting the story together in your head that all these all this value is going to come in, and look, somebody deployed just a few $1 million, and it went up to 50 cents or $1. And then you could do the math, and a lot of people would be, oh, this is just the beginning. It's going to keep going. And so then how many of us, if you truly believe it's day one of the pump, are you really getting out? Are you really selling? It's a hard one, man.
That's how FOMO works though, right? Like,
yeah,
I think the most likely people to buy HEX after a pump are the ones who sold HEX during a pump or before a pump, because they're going to have FOMO. Oh, look, it's pumping. I need to get back in so I don't miss out, right? So, like, I think that FOMO on all of PulseChain, if the OA pumps it, is going to be like on all the core coins. People are going to be FOMOing back in, and the most likely people to do that are people who have held it before.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I think you definitely see the FOMO that way. You also have the new people FOMO because the people. So this happens a lot with the crypto, at least from my experience. Somebody starts flashing around their 6 figures, or their 7 figures, and all of a sudden they're like, I got to get in too, and then everybody's running over newbie buying the tops, right?
Front run the guy with 7 figures. Yeah.
And so they're running in, and then of course we know what the story is. But what we see also with that, and I think you just brought it up, is so we're even though it kind of feels like, guys, we've only had these like little mini pumps for amps, right? Every once in a while. Usually in a parabolic run, you have the standard comments. You can pick out your own from your community, right? But you'll see it, and you'll see the normal standard comments. Oh, things went up 50%. Oh, look, that guy's selling. That's a Jeep, and lettuce hands and blah 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 blah, right? And then you'll have the other guys and ladies. They'll be like, "No, okay, it's topped. It's topped. We're gonna get a 50% retrace, right?" And so you got some people holding, on for dear life, right? Hodl. And then you got these other guys that are like, I'm going to play this, right? And the players are the ones that really get chopped up in this because, a lot of them are good, right? But most of them are going to be like, okay, I'm selling, and they sell, and the goddamn thing pumps, and then they buy it back higher,
Yep.
and then because it's happened to me, right? Even if I'm only working with a few dollars and I'm fooling around, right? That's it's not different. It's just it's less value. And then they do it again, and then all of a sudden, after you get burned once or twice like that, and the chart still goes up, like it goes up 3x and retraces 40%, and you thought you were going to get more units and you missed it because the next fast Abdul came in and pumped it another 3x, you stop doing that. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's how you get to $5, right? Because if you have enough sustained pumpage, that would happen, So, anyways, that's the stuff that I think about with this, man. That's why it's so important to really have an idea what you really need. Man, it's a wonderful place if you're just going to round trip forever, because you really don't have to worry about any of this. You just have fun with it if that's the case. But most people aren't in round trip heaven,
True. Yeah. And and a lot of people get shaken out on that journey, right? Which is, and most often they get shaken out at the bottom. Also how FOMO works.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we also have, missed signals. Like people will be like, oh no, everything's really clear. Looking backwards, it's super clear. But man, we had signals, to take profit on Bitcoin in January 2021. That wasn't the best time to sell Bitcoin. And then we had more signals come in April, May. Technically that were like, hey, you take profits, right? That was a good time to sell. But then everybody says, yeah, but the real top was November, October, November, whatever the date was. And yeah, it came back up to that, but it didn't show that on the indicators that it was going to do that. And so it's not always real clear what's going to happen because it's crypto and people are going to do what they're going to do. So you have to kind of figure out a strategy where sometimes enough is enough,
Yeah. Well, and there's real stress there, right? Like I
Mm.
totally get it. I feel the stress.
Yeah. Well, you know who Dev Kyle is? You remember that name?
I do. Yeah, he was one of the PulseChain devs, right?
Hex Dev, sure.
Hex devs. There we go.
I don't know if he was PulseChain or not. And I don't even know if this truly was his situation, but at the time they said it was his wallets that did it. But we had big wallets. So here's one for you. Hex was not at 55 cents in April, May of 21. It was not. It was like down at, I don't know, 10, 12 cents, something like that. I have to go look at the chart.
Remember that?
And people emergency unstaked and sold. Right. And one of the wallets I think sold like 1 million. Right. And so of course normal, because we're so supportive as a community, we're like, look at that guy, he's gonna be sorry, blah blah blah. Of course, he missed the additional 15x, right, or whatever. I guess it would have been another 5x, whatever the number ended up being that it went up to. Somebody look it up. You can tell us. But anyways, the price went up to 55 cents, and they did miss that. But that doesn't mean that the decision that the person made was wrong. So if you had been in early and had bought Hex at the all-time lows, and then it went up to that high in that April May timeframe, you made some serious gains, and so it would have made tons of sense. I mean, tons of sense. And my friend Randy Hilarski's out here. Hey, thanks Randy for the super chat. And yeah, always be selling, baby, and buying. It's kind of a two-way street. I really do subscribe to that. Always be selling, always be buying, because there's these opportunities in the market. Don't take that literally, but in general, you can kind of generalize that when you're really looking at the market, you can see these types of opportunities, and it's kind of tongue in cheek, because we're not really telling everybody to be trading all the time, but it's there's a lot that can be going on.
Sure. Yeah, I think the danger is with skill levels, right? So like always be selling is a losing proposition for some people if you're not willing to do the research, if you don't have your finger on
Well,
the pulse.
well, isn't that the criticism of the big ETH whales and the big HEX whales? The criticism against them, even some of the big Bitcoin whales. Yeah, sure. There's a lot of people never touch their wallets, come back later. But isn't that the big criticism of them? These guys, they just keep selling it down. The whales are selling it down. Well, first off, they couldn't sell it in the beginning because it wasn't as fungible, not as much liquidity.
Yep.
And it would have hurt the asset a hell of a lot more earlier. So they finally do get around to do some selling and whatever it is. But it's like, if you're in a situation where you got ETH for like $1.50, or you got in early, even earlier, and got whatever the original offer price was, if I had been able to mentally get my head around the idea that it was a good idea to get 10,000 ETH, right? That would have been 15 grand, man, right? And if I had 15 grand worth of ETH and I was able to at least, hold my, hold my beer, hold my water for, for 4 or 5 years, then I would have already been like, holy crap, look at this thing. Can you believe it? It's 4 grand, and then you might be in an always be selling, always be buying, scenario. Because now you're just doing something different, right? You get so much of it.
Yeah, well, like if Pulse goes to $1, then I wouldn't feel bad about selling some of my Pulse for $1 on any given day. But I think
That's a good example.
yeah, and it's not that different from ETH being 70 cents or whatever it was on their pre-sale, right? But like I think for most people, DCAing in and out is most likely to be the win, right?
100%. All right, I see you, Mr. PulseChain, out there. I don't know who that could be, but here's the comment: lock it in the vault. And that's actually a good segue. There are some methodologies to lock things up. Maddie had has his vault system. Time Pays Me, where you can actually use a immutable protocol to do that. There are some other protocols that are out there that do things like that. There's staking, and of course there's providing farming. But then I heard there is a new token on the street called the Vault. So maybe perhaps
Vault
token talking about that. So what is that all about?
Okay, so Vault token was launched on Pump.tires, which is not normally something you would associate with a utility token. But I discussed it with my devs, and I found out that you can put any token into a utility protocol. It doesn't have to be minted by that protocol on day one or something like that. So the concept is that Vault 369 will be a multi-asset liquidity fork, so stablecoin protocol on PulseChain that will allow you to take loans against various assets. And the protocol token is the Vault token, which was we could say pre-minted on Pump.tires, and is currently available on the market. So I've got a lot of different eyeballs that probably would have not tied into a liquidity fork or a utility protocol. A lot of interest there, trading action, etc. So I think it was a win. I had to be extremely secret about it, as you know, nobody knew about it until it launched. Even my devs didn't know because I didn't want to take any sort of chance of them participating in a front running type manner. So it like literally launched on pumped out tires straight to the decks, like full send, without anyone knowing about it until after it was live on PulseX.
And so, what's the equivalent in other tokens that this token's going to be?
So there'll be some differences because I plan on doing it different, but the equivalent tokens like would be loan, flex, earn, and print would be our liquidity forks on Pulse Chain, right? So
Yeah.
it's the equivalent of those. Like as far as the staking utility, the protocol itself will work fairly differently from those. For one, it's going to be a multi-asset liquidity fork, meaning you can put multiple things into it and not just one thing, like not just ink, not just pulse, etc., etc. And it will be an upgradable liquidity fork, meaning that additional assets can be added as additional types of collateral, subject to a DAO vote. So that's sort of allows it to change with the market a little bit more. And then there's I have some other tricks up my sleeve as well, as far as reducing the redemptions, maintaining the value of the token. One of which was to launch it in the way that we did launch it, where it's already has burnt liquidity against Pulse, and it already has a market before the protocol even launches. But there will be other ways with buyback and burns, various fee changes on the protocol as far as where those fees go, and with having a strategy to reduce the number of redemptions that participants have to endure, which is probably the largest single problem in my opinion on like any liquidity fork. It's part of the process. Like you can't get rid of redemptions, which is where one of your a dollar worth of the asset that you put in as collateral gets burned, and in return a dollar of your loan gets repaid for you. So it's a neutral in the moment thing, but people generally don't like it if it's not part of their plan, and it can be abused sometimes as well by whales and such who are using that method as a no slippage way to buy the underlying asset token. And I know you got that, Crispy. It's probably a little complex for some people, but we're looking to make it smoother and more versatile. And the main thing we're focusing on day one is going to be to have the liquid staking forks for Pulse Chain as collateral. So we're going to have UPLS and VPLS, like the Vouch protocol and Validator X. With VPLS, we're going to have a direct mint option where you could actually put in Pulse, and then it turns into VPLS inside your vault, so that you're earning directly, the APR 20% or whatever it is on the day on the collateral that you're taking a loan against, and it will just be a push of the button thing to do that. So I think
And so,
it's going to.
what will people receive for the loan?
They will receive VUSD, Vault dollars.
Mhm. All right, and so then the new Vault 369 is similar to the other reward tokens, and what you were describing earlier is just your methodology to try to keep it so that instead of it being a always down really hard reward token, that perhaps it's a more stable reward token.
More stable and much more rare, right? So if like fewer of them come out, so there's way fewer to get in general. I think that's part of it. But if the protocol uses a portion of the fees to buy it and take it off the market permanently, and it could actually be quite quite a large portion of fees that do that. I think it could result in a very, very, very different looking chart. So of course, this is all speculation right now. There's no financial advice right now. It's just something that launched and pumped out tires. So we know there's no guarantee with those things, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm working on, and then adding additional types of collateral as we go forward. I'm looking at things like LP tokens for collateral, maybe even things that are inserted in a farm, like the PulseX farms, for example, where you could take leverage on your farming position. That could be a thing, or even leverage against a V3 position could also be a thing. Now, they may not all be things on day one. They might be things over time.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. So Yaveen was asking, yeah, it does sound a little complicated, but I think we can get our heads around it once there's a white paper and stuff out. And not financial advice to go buy the token. In the past, it's been very hard for tokens to keep their price up. But I like the idea of laying the foundation for it. For reward token that way. And then the follow-on question was, is the vault token stable or does it fluctuate? And I think we just answered that. It will fluctuate.
The VUSD will be the stable coin. The vault token is the reward token. So it's like it will fluctuate, right? It's not, it has no peg. No pegging mechanism. So it can go to $1 million, it can't go to $0 though, because it has burnt liquidity against Pulse.
I look forward to hearing more about it. And then is this the Telegram for Vault 369?
That's the Telegram, and I'll drop you the website here. Vault369.com. And intentionally, there was no white paper released on the launch day, as to not create expectations, but there will be an updated white paper. And there's basically the app. You can test the app. There's the buttons to open the app, to look at the app, to see what the buttons do. People will be able to play with it well before launch.
That sounds good. I look forward to hearing more about it. Everybody, make sure you do your own research, right? And
Agreed.
Look at these things and go from there. I do like the idea of, we have a lot of protocols now working on, like LPX, and we got the Pulse, the different ways to do Pulse, lots of ways to earn by extending your liquidity out to other people for use. And I like how that's coming along, because I'm interested.
The liquid staking forks are cool in that, like, it's an equivalent asset. Like, there's no impermanent loss. You're turning your Pulse into stake Pulse that earns, and then you can turn it back into Pulse, right? Like it goes both ways. So, that concept's bullish to me, and that's why, I'm interested in building on top of those.
Very cool. All right, we're going to switch over to a quick TA question. Fast Abdul, what is your favorite TA indicator? Only choose one. Yeah,
only choose one. My favorite TA indicator is getting TA from other people who are better at it than me. If I had to choose an indicator, the only one I regularly use myself are Bollinger Bands. Very, very, very simple. You can understand what's going on right now to some degree. Long-term predictions, I would literally reach out to other people I know to be like, hey, can you give me a long-term prediction on this? Because it's it's a skill, and I don't want to put time into learning that skill.
I have a different take on that. I get that point though. I don't draw lines very well on charts and all this. And I did go through the Access Alive courses that he had, which were very good. And I learned a lot from that, but I don't think I'm anywhere near, a practitioner. But all that being said, I have a little bit of a zoom out view, and I follow the what's called the golden ratio multiplier. And there's a good article on that by a guy by the name of Philip Swift. But you can find it on right on TradingView. And this is an indicator that can be used to call the bottom, to call the top, to call reversals on a year scale. And yeah, so I like that one a lot. I use that within my group. And I follow that. So if that was the only one I could do, that's what I would do, because it gives me that. It allows me to call the tops. So that's where we're at.
Good concept.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, it's come in handy. I mean, it's the stuff when these guys are talking about the pie indicator. It's the pie indicator, and the question is how strongly you're going to believe that it's right. So that's where we're at right now. Logi, I think you're talking about the DAT token, maybe. What is DAT, Crispy? Maybe you're asking about the DAT token, or you're asking about DAT. Which TA indicator was I talking about? Hey, for DAT, can you talk about DAT for a moment?
I can talk about the DAT token. So the DAT token is a farming token put up by the No Permissions community that you can receive for free by farming selected pairs of No Permissions tokens, including Solid X, Nope, Fire, Axis, several others on the Hocus Pocus farming wizard, which you can find. I should have one up on my screen here. Here it is, hocuspocus.finance. And there's links to farms and the farming wizard. And then you can drill down to the homie farms, which is where you can receive the DAT token for free. And considering you can get it for free, it's actually done fairly well, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I guess Yaveen's saying maybe it was digital asset treasury, but either way, we covered the DAT, and now people can go see the DAT.
Yeah,
go see the DAT and do that. You can do DAT. All right, and then so we have that. All right, so I put the golden ratio multiplier out there. Logic, you can take a look at that. It's pretty cool. It's a cool concept and idea. Yeah, remember, it's always based on that past information that we've had on cycles. So maybe all that's changing. I don't know, right? 4-year cycles out, 5-year cycles in, left translated, right translated, upside down charts. We'll go from there. All right. Well, the other thing, guys, I've been working on this week, I'm getting ready to launch a new public channel on Telegram, but it's not a paid thing or anything like that, just a public channel where anybody can go in and get information on trends and prices on HEX and etc. And where this came from is my work with the actuator protocol, and just observing and really getting into understanding that HEX, for me, and I'm always going to talk about it this way, HEX is the thing. Right. I think it's going to run the hardest. I think it's the mainstay. I think it has the best product market fit. Yes, it's embedded in PulseChain, right? But basically people who use HEX can stake their HEX and basically get treasury bonds, something that pays you about the same as a treasury bond in terms of APR, but it gives you the exposure, extreme exposure to crypto and what happens with crypto. And I know a lot of people are not going to listen to what I'm going to say about this and may not agree with me, but I'd like to say that now's a really good time to get a ladder in place, right? A staking ladder. But I get it. I can see on the charts, and I can also see in the data that people aren't staking. But this would be the time to do it. I mean, it's very cheap, not financial advice, but you could put an entire ladder in pretty cheap. And
because people aren't staking, it makes it a better time on paper, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
And so in general, I think one way to talk to TradFi bros and gals that are out there is to basically describe HEX as treasury bonds with exposure to crypto cycles, volatility, and price appreciation. And then the extension of that is this actuator protocol. And I didn't make it up, and I'm not a founder, but I had to do all the research to learn about it. And really, and I won't go into detail here. I got a bunch of streams that I've done, but basically they're HEX bonds.
Yep.
They're zero coupon HEX bonds, right? And in that ecosystem, HEX acts as the cash, and the HSIs that get collateralized, people mint HTTs, and those are bonds. And that creates a whole trading ecosystem that rides on top of HEX. Now I know there may be some others that'll be around in development, etc. But this one's out there now. As I've been looking at the actuator, and so the channel that I'm going to put together, it's just meant to be for the people that are interested. Yeah, they can go there and go look and say, oh look, here's some additional information. You get a lot of good information in actuator.finance right now. So, but this is a little bit more like reacting to changes and data and trade ideas and that type of stuff. So people will be able to go in and look at it. So I'm excited about that because I envision that ecosystem. It's not micro. I mean, it's $500,000, right? It's not micro. So maybe it's 600K. Prices are fluctuating, right? But at 10x, it's $6 million, right? At 100x, it's a $60 million ecosystem. And I just recognize it takes all types of people to participate in the market. And while it may be my intent that staking is the only thing that makes any sense and is least risk and least amount of work that I have to do, I recognize that other people like to trade. And so I think it's a great next level narrative to be able to go talk to the trad bros and TradFi bros and be like, you interested in something like this? Go take a look at this. Go trade HEX bonds. There's 0 coupon bonds, and when they
There are professional bond traders who would probably eat that stuff up if they knew about it.
So why not? So let's get that to the next level.
Agreed. So you're making a public Telegram room where people can go in and they can learn about actuator. That's the prime focus.
Well, it's an addition to the actuator,
Okay.
channel. You go to the actuator.finance and they have the Telegram link. It'll bring you to their Telegram, but this is more like a data feed, with alerts and all that kind of stuff, right? Going right into the Telegram.
Okay.
So, just trying to provide that info. Maybe it won't work.
Like alerts on like ratios and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like right now I have it worked up just to give all the current prices and ratios, right?
Okay.
And which ones are which discount and how it's different. I'm not trying to replace the actuator.finance stuff at all. How it's different though is that what I'm able to do is like send out alerts, right? When in a little bit more advanced fashion than previously when they get mispriced. And so it's like a bond trading desk.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that you can actually see, hey, because this is crypto and people are doing all sorts of crazy stuff. This thing just went way up and this other one stayed the same, and now you can get the first one and swap it into the second one, that type of thing. So it's definitely trading stuff, not for novices, obviously, for new people. But anyways, that's what I've been working on this week.
Oh, it sounds worthwhile. Thank you for your service, sir.
It's always fun. Let's see, what's the oh yeah, let's see. This is a good question, Stevana. What is the best stablecoin, dude? I don't know, man. I got a significant opinion about this. I got a pretty strong opinion. Let me go first.
Best stablecoin to use on PulseX. So that is a specific question. And on PulseX, I would go with liquidity, and I would probably say DAI from Ethereum.
DAI as in DAI, not DIE. DAI is the number one.
Doesn't mean it's the best stablecoin. It's just the best stablecoin to use on PulseX.
Yeah. Well, to start with, there's double the liquidity.
That's a good start.
That's a big start. And observing what's happening with liquidity, it is also the most in demand. So roughly, out of the three, roughly the demand for DAI is about twice the demand for either USDT or USDC. And that it doesn't seem important, but it is important. Now there's lots of other things going on. You got the HEX DC, you got the INC D, you got the PXDC, all these algorithmic things. You got the Coast, and the Coast is really, really coming up. They're really trying to build that up, but it takes time to build up enough collateralization so that you can minimize the slippage.
Yep. If your purpose is trading on PulseChain in general, and like so you want to spend said stablecoin, then probably regardless of the DEX, like on average, DAI from Ethereum will be your deepest liquidity single stablecoin. So, but like if you're only spending $2,000, it matters much less. But if it's 50,000 plus, then DAI from Ethereum is probably the way to go right now. Other stable coins have different purposes, right? So like Coast is an onboarding mechanism, offboarding mechanism, right? The liquidity forks are like a store of value mechanism where you don't have to sell your asset. You can get a stable coin without selling your HEX, selling your Pulse, selling your V Pulse, like or whatever's on offer, right? So, but if you just want to buy things on Pulse Chain, bridging over DAI from Ethereum is a strong choice.
Yeah, and that's something Richard talked about a couple times, I think, in his tweets, is that is one of the best ways to bring value and get the least slippage. Now, that being said, there conditionally, there's other stuff to consider that's out there, meaning why choose one over another. Now, we gave you the answer based on the liquidity and what we see on PulseX, right? However, outside with DAI, right? DAI is, of course, becoming Sky at some point. I don't know how that transition takes place exactly. I haven't done the research, but I would say it is utilized pretty universally at the moment across DeFi. However, then you got these gotchas, right? Like if you're a Coinbase user, USDC, right? They don't charge fees for the USDC, or at least they didn't last time I looked. And so a lot of people who are trying to come in and out through Coinbase, it drives them towards USDC. And then you have the USDT, and this is some funny shit, right? So like us here over in the Western side of the world, we might not think it's a big deal, but on the Eastern side of the world, like USDT is the shit, right? That is the token, right?
Yeah,
To
for
the point,
China, for Hong Kong,
yeah,
Japan, USDT.
and so I kind of chuckle because I don't know really what's going on, but when I go look at the liquidity and I see sudden influxes of USDT, I'm like, oh, that's coming from the Far East, right? Because it's a very real thing for those users because they can only use that to get in and out. Can't use USDC, they can't use DAI, so they got to use USDT. But yeah.
One thing we should mention is like the censorship resistance, which DAI is reasonably censorship resistant, but Sky, like their replacement, is not. It will have like pause and freeze functions. USDT and USDC, they can pause your assets, they can blacklist your wallet. Outside of Pulse Chain, but on Pulse Chain, if USDT and USDC has been bridged to Pulse Chain, while it's on Pulse Chain, it cannot be frozen because it's a bridged copy. I think that's one of the things that makes things like the liquidity forks better is that they're immutable code and nobody can freeze the stable coin. Nobody can blacklist your wallet.
I'm going to say something about the liquidity. That's the worst branding ever, though. I mean, I get it, but man, it's a pain in the ass trying to pronounce that.
It is because it sounds like liquidity, but it's not. It's liquidity.
I thought everybody was saying liquidity for the longest time until I figured it out. Right. All right, so let's switch subjects over here. J-Dub, I don't know if I haven't heard Sami talk about it lately, but me and Sami are still waiting for that PDI liquidity fork. Fast.
You're gonna have to keep waiting, NJ.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
Yeah, not on my to-do list right now.
Yeah, it's too bad because I did hear somebody else ask about that today, and it is too bad. But hey, listen, the users, the users decided they didn't want to support it, and that's okay. And like you said, I think you said this, the ink dye printer came out pretty good, so it's working pretty good.
Yeah, I pivoted to ink, and that's been proven to be very popular. There's about 6% of all the ink is locked inside there. People like it.
That's good. All right. So, though I do, I don't know if I'm right about this, and I don't know about any of the conspiracy stuff that's out there still about it, but people like the token. It's a big giant meme token. There's a
Oh,
lot of
And,
liquidity.
and like, there's no more exploit because it's shut down. It effectively has no code. So, like, I'm happy to see it go to $1, $10,000, whatever it can do.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
mean,
fantastic.
it appears to be that it'll go through the normal cycles of people hyping and then selling, because it's the wash rinse repeat, right? So I have a penny stock that I've been following for, I don't know, 11 years.
Really?
And
Yeah.
it always cycles between 6.5 and 8 cents, right? Sometimes it goes as high as 9 cents. But it's with this company, it's got this certain technology, it's got this narrative. It's a really strong
Yeah.
narrative, right? It's really cool. Like this space age stuff, right, it's gonna rock the world. Now it's 11 years later, right? Whatever. It's gonna rock the world.
Right.
Um,
And they
and
just go through a
simply
cycle of 6
it
cents
just
to 8 cents, and so people
uh,
are buying and
yeah,
selling
dude.
in between.
It's like clockwork. Yeah, I like that one. But it's like clockwork, where what ends up happening is um, everybody's hyping it when it's down at the lower band, and then they're talking about it, talking about it. A lot of the same things we talk about in crypto. In fact, now they've started saying crypto terms, right? With it, and then new people come in, they're like, "Oh, this is great! I really believe." Diamond
Yeah.
holder, blah 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 blah, right? And it goes up to the 6.5 cents and elevator down, right?
Yep.
So I mean, it's not hard to figure out how this stuff works, right? Um, and it gets applied elsewhere as well. All right. Well, we've been on for an hour. What else? Do you have anything else you want to talk about? I don't see anything else in the chat. Give everybody a trophy. Hex Wizard 369. Do that.
Trophies for everyone. We've covered the important stuff. We talked about X game is live. Is that going to burn Solid X? Is that the concept behind X game?
Yes. Yes, that's the concept.
Okay.
And I don't think it's legal for me to advertise referral links for it or anything. I'm not really sure. My state, we have, my state, we got casinos, right? And the casinos have online apps now too. And you
That's
got
probably why it's not legal, because they want their
yeah,
their
and
their
then
casino.
what's it called? Draft Duel, or what's the site that they do? I don't know.
No idea.
There's another site that's advertised quite heavily here for betting online and whatnot. I don't think I can talk. I don't think I can send out the referral, but I can talk to people about it. You know, just tell them about it. But yeah. I mean, so the crash game's pretty cool. I wanted to get a video of it. That's why everybody should go watch Randy. I'm gonna grab Randy's YouTube link right now. Let me see if I can do that while we're talking, and I'll drop it in the chat. Watch the crash game. I mean, I had fun just watching it. I'm not going on there myself at the moment doing anything, but I'm kind of geeky, and so a portion of, and I think is quite a big portion of it, of the revenue from that comes back to PulseChain, to buy and burn Solid X.
I dropped the link to Randy's stream,
yeah.
which is currently live right now.
Oh, is it? Okay, let's do that. So you can go watch that and see how it's working. We could actually watch it here, but my computer's all screwed up. So I better not try to do that.
I can share it if you want.
Oh, I'll share it. Yeah. Oh, you want to put it on the screen? See if he's got the game?
I could, yeah. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. It's come out on 3 different chains: BNB, PulseChain, Base. They're working through it, to do it. And again, it might not be for me, but other people are going to use it. And if it's gonna buy and burn and help us in PulseChain, good. We're not going to hear a voice, I don't think, unless I.
In 2016 when it first passed $1,000
you
bucks
can
again.
hear.
And I never blamed anybody for what I missed out on.
All right, so we'll mute him for a moment, but you guys can go over there and watch him and go see what's going on. He's going to do the crash game. You can actually play with him if you want to play with him. I guess I should be careful with my words on that. Anyways, you can participate with Randy. He's going to be selecting people out of the chat, and then he plays the game and shares the winnings if you win.
I like it when he does that.
Yes, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I know he could. I know he got banned. I know he got banned for doing it before or whatever when he was doing the slot machines. But I had a kick out of the slot machine stuff. Given the online
Randy
slot
just doesn't care. He's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Randy does what Randy does. All right, guys. Well, everyone, we're gonna go ahead and call it. You can go watch Randy. I'm gonna go over there, raid that, and listen in, see what's going on. Maybe I'll make an appearance. I don't know. And then, yeah, just stay crispy, and we'll talk more. And I do think everybody, I know it's hard, but I keep saying it all the time. Hex might be the stuff. Right? So I'm thinking it is. So, all right. So when I hit the end stream, we may CT or we may not CT. I don't know, because I was afraid to do anything while we were here. So I'll push the button. If you go to black, we'll go to black. All right, everybody.
Yo, T. Urgent hex buy signal. Charts flaming hot.
Golden ratio, huh? That's how legends stack T-shares.
Get them while they're crispy, folks. This window won't stay open long.
Stake smart. Win big. Time rewards those who act.
Stay crispy, Hexicans.
You gotta move it. Move it. Feel the rhythm of the blockchain.